Welcome back, everyone, to the Young Entrepreneurs Podcast. Sad day today because we don't have a guest. It's just me by myself today.
Oh,
I know.
brother, this
I'm gonna
guy
edit in some things
stinks!
right there because I know it's gonna be so funny. But but today we don't have a guest. It's just me by myself. Sadly, it's because I got busy throughout the week and I forgot to ask business owners here locally or anywhere around the area if anybody wants to be on a podcast. Which who doesn't want to be on a podcast, right? Especially with me, Adrian Rubio. But yeah, so today's just here by myself. I recently created a short form video that I posted speaking about my favorite books. My favorite books that I feel like have impacted me a lot within my business journey within the past year and a half. So these books that I'm about to mention, I've read from 2024 to now, current day, April 25th, 2025. So we have a few. We have about 4 that I'm going to dive into today. But I do have one special one, a bonus that I don't have with me here in person. Here I have a few right in front of me. You're not able to see. I know you're not because it's a surprise. Right? But I don't have that one bonus book in front of me. So that will be the last one I will present. But let me dive in. So the first book that I want to go over that I believe has helped me out a lot is Jeffrey Gitomer's Little Red Book of Selling. I'm sorry, I'm pretty sure I butchered his name. I've never been good with names. Sad to say, especially when people have a little bit of a weird last name. It's better if they just pronounce it for me, and then from there I'll remember. But the Little Red Book of Selling. It has the 12.5 Principles of Sales Greatness. How to make sales forever. Bold statement. He got me there. So I got recommended this book from a friend of mine called Jose Lozano. Shout out to him. Y'all should check him out on social media. Great guy, amazing guy. But I got recommended this book by him because it's a short read. Who doesn't like a short read? Some people don't like reading at all, but if you're like me and you like reading, a short book makes it the best. So one thing about this book is that it has a bunch of fun little designs. Hopefully you see, like fun little designs like this. Cute little designs that you're able to read over that are funny, ha 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 ha, while you're reading along. And so there's a lot of stuff I've highlighted through. It gives you the core 12 principles that is needed in order for you to sell stuff and actually learn how to have great sales skills. So I want to dive into my favorite chapter, my favorite principle, as I should say. Principle 8, if you can make them laugh, you can make them buy. So I'm a really big fan of this one because, I don't know, I think I'm a funny guy at least, right? I like joking around a lot. I have the sense of humor of a 20-year-old because I am 20. So I just try to keep myself on a professional level. But I do like to joke around a lot. And usually when I'm hanging around other business owners, I give a few jokes here and there, test out the field, see who's laughing, who's not, because they are very corny jokes. I'm a very corny guy, and I'm proud to say that. I don't care. All right, but if you can make them laugh, you can make them buy. So I like this principle a lot because when I'm hanging around other business owners, I'm always testing out jokes. Not jokes as in a comedian style, it's just whatever flows in my mind, I feel like this one's gonna hit. So sometimes I have bad jokes. For example, the other day, I was at a Chamber of Commerce event, and this lady passed me a coaster, I believe is what it's called. It's whenever you have a drink, let's say you have a water bottle, and you put a coaster under it, so, I don't know, people usually have their brand on there, right? So she was like, hey, do you want a drink? And I'm like, oh, it's fine, I'll grab it myself. I don't want her to keep working. She was already taking pictures. I don't want her to grab the drink. I was like, I'll grab it myself, it's fine. And she's like, no, I want you to promote it. It's because I want to use the coaster to promote the brand. And so I told her, well, in a jokingly manner, I was like, well, I'll make sure to send my invoice, And then she didn't even laugh at all. I thought it was pretty funny. Maybe it was a wee head type of joke, but I thought it was pretty funny. But she clearly did not end up laughing. She just gave me a look, and I was like, "Yep, I'll take a water. I'll take a water. I'm sorry." And so I was there advertising. The whole joke was supposed to be, "Hey, I gotta send my invoice if you want me to promote your stuff." But Clearly it flopped. But so jokes like that work with other people. So if you can make them laugh, you can make them buy, right? And it's hard. It's hard. I've met a lot of people who don't laugh at my jokes, and clearly they're not my audience if that's the case. But I've met a lot of people who do laugh at my jokes, probably from pittiness, like, oh man, this guy's super corny, but it doesn't matter, right? So this is why I love Principle 8 from this book. There are a whole lot of principles here. I'm going to dive into one of them. Let's say Principle 9. No, not 9. I feel like 9 is right next to it. Boom, this one right here. If you can't get in front of the real decision maker, you suck. And it has a cute little drawing right there. If you can't get in front of the real decision maker, you suck. Simple as that. And very good to say. Here's one of the few things I have highlighted. Okay. Major clue. If they have no interest, you will not get the appointment. If you provide no perceived value, they will not appoint you. If you are not engaging, they will not appoint you. If they perceive they have no need, they will not appoint you. Core of that message is to give people value. If you don't seem like an important guy that they need, they're not going to want to deal with you. Simple, right? That's why, for example, let's say at the moment I'm doing cold outreach, emails, DMs, witty. And through emails, people don't really know who I am. They're just like, okay, is this person sending me an email, asking for an offer, they want to help me, but I feel like I'm not getting enough value from this person, right? I don't know this person, or I don't see this person as a type of person that's very important to me. So this is where I see that you have to provide value to anything, to anyone, if you want to get an appointment with them. Jeez, oh man. I need some water. I'm not used to talking so long. But first book is Little Red Book of Selling. These books are not in order, so I'm just diving into whatever I come across. Second book, when I use social media, I remember someone referencing this book right here. Atomic Habits. Atomic Habits by James Clear. See, he has a great name I'm able to pronounce easily. But I ended up taking the book cover off because it was very annoying. So it's just like a white book, but it's a white book with knowledge. So when I was on social media scrolling the other day, probably a few months ago, honestly. But I was scrolling a few months ago and I saw someone reference like, oh man, I love Atomic Habits. It's such a good book. It is a great book. But there was people in the comments saying, this is a TikTok book. This is a social media book. It's not even good. It's crazy why people just hate on anything dumb, right? People say it's a good book and people automatically start hating. It's a TikTok book. You're rating that TikTok book. People are just such losers, man. But anyways, Atomic Habits. I'm pretty sure you've heard about it. But it's an amazing book. I've loved it. I've loved reading about it because it's helped me so much discover some of the bad habits I have. I have good habits, but we're not perfect. We all have bad habits, and I've had a few bad habits that I've had to overcome, or habits I wanted to get used to. And so I was like, man, I feel like I need to read this book. I got recommended this book, and I went ahead and read from it. So my favorite chapter from this book is chapter 6. Motivation is overrated. Environment often matters more. So what does that mean, Adrian? That means that people can get motivated in a few minutes and then be like, yeah, I'm going to take over the world. Boom, 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 boom. Next thing you know, probably like an hour or two later, they're done for. They're like, yeah, I can't do this. I'm very, very tired. You know, the motivation wears off. And so you can only have motivation for a certain amount of time. It's just gonna keep draining down and down and down. Environment matters more, James Clear dives into this book and says, because when you're in a different environment, your mind is setting whatever you take action in that environment as this is what this environment causes. For example, I started reading outside of the house. There's a little table that I go out to, but I started reading outside because I wasn't able to read. I felt like I couldn't focus and lock in. I couldn't focus on the book I was reading. So I started reading outside. I know, weird. Yeah, never mind. Very weird. Very weird for me to read outside, usually because I was always reading inside. But reading outside really helped me because the goal was to just knock down one chapter. But now I'm knocking down several chapters of, regardless of what book it is, every day outside. Reading outside has helped me out a lot because I changed my environment. Before I was reading on the kitchen table. But I ended up switching. I'm like, okay, I want to read a little more, but it feels awkward because I see all these distractions. And usually when I'm in the kitchen table, what do? I'm an iPad kid, sad to say. But I have my food, boom, pop my phone right there, put it on something I could balance it, and watch a YouTube video, right? And so that's the environment that I've set in stone when I'm eating, is I have my phone, I'm watching something, so it's really difficult for me to read while I'm at the kitchen table when your mind is already programmed to, okay, there's supposed to be a phone there, and you're supposed to be watching a video. Alex Hormozy, weedy, this and that. So that's why I was struggling to read in the kitchen table. Hence why your environment is totally different. So when I started reading outside, my mind was automatically, this is the reading space. Only thing I do here is read. I don't watch YouTube videos, I read. So that's why I believe this book is amazing. It gives out helpful tips, but my favorite tip was environment is more important than motivation. All right, so third book I mentioned in the video, Harvey B. Mackay, his book, Swim with the Sharks Without Being Eaten Alive. And they got a cosign from the one and only Donald Trump. What? Our current president of the United States co-signed this. He said, a must for everyone and anyone entering the business world. He said this is a must for everyone and anyone entering the business world. What? That's a pretty bold statement, especially from Donald Trump. So, favorite thing about this book is that every chapter is like 2 to 3 pages, which makes it even better because then you read one chapter and you're like, oh, that chapter was really good. And then you're like, let me just dive into the next chapter. 5 minutes later, boom, next chapter. So after 30 minutes, you could probably knock down 4 or 5 chapters. But these small chapters come with a bunch of knowledge, a bunch of stories. Oh my gosh, I love stories, right? But, however, my favorite lesson is lesson number 3. Knowing something about your customer is just as important as knowing everything about your product. So what this chapter really dives into is knowing something about your customer. And this is my favorite chapter because that's what I try to do. When I have a prospect that I want to get in contact with, that I feel like, oh, I'm able to do business with them. What do? I search up their website. Okay, what are they doing? Boom, 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 boom. Okay, this is their website? All right, perfect. I search up their Facebook. Boom, 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 analyzing all this info, and I find certain things that they would post on social media, like on Facebook, man. Everyone posts their personal life on Facebook. And so I feel like it's a great spot. Now when I go and meet that person for the first time, second time, like, hey, I saw your wife is pregnant again, congrats. And they're like, oh man, thank you, I appreciate that. And then once I saw that, we started talking about that, boom, 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 boom. Once I mentioned that, we started talking about that, boom, 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 boom. And then I have something else I noted down, which is like, hey, I see your daughter is your daughter is pregnant as well. Oh my gosh, boom, 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 boom. So it's a bunch of info just from me knowing something about that customer. Another way that I try to do it is, for example, the owner of the building I'm in right now. I wanted to talk to him, but I just didn't know how. And so I asked around, I'm like, okay, how am I able to get in contact with this person? Obviously, I see him all the time, but you don't want to come up looking like a scrub and like, hey. No, you don't want to do that. So I asked around, they're like, hey, he has this book. He wrote his own book. And I'm like, okay, perfect. So I skimmed the book a little bit. It was an autobiography. I skimmed the book, boom. We reached this certain section that he deeply spoke about. It was near the end of the book. But I read into that, bum, 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 bum. Man, next time I saw the owner of the building, first time I ever met him, he seen me around. First time I went up and spoke with him, I was like, hey, nice to finally meet you. I know you're the owner of the building. I read your book and I really liked this part right here. And man, his eyes blew up. Oh, really? Did you? Like, yeah. And then I kind of repeated everything back to him. He was like, what? And so I asked him, hey, can I take you out to lunch? He's like, yeah, go ahead. Tell my assistant Wednesday at noon. And from there, we've been able to build a good relationship. And he's been able to help me out with a lot of things, especially because he's big in the city that I'm in. So he's been able to introduce me to new and more successful people that I would love to get in their circle, right? But overall, great book, and it's co-signed by the Donald J. Trump. What? Outsell, outmanage, outmotivate, and outnegotiate your competition. Oh man. It also dives into a lot of stuff regarding to negotiating and how you're able to negotiate everything. See, I still have a bookmark here. Everything's negotiable. Capitalism, by definition, is a system in which everything is for sale. Everything always has a price. Simple as that. People can say, oh no, I don't have a price for this, I don't have a price for this, but then you put enough stuff on the table and they're gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna have to give this up or do this and this and this. The fourth book, the most recent book that I've been reading into, I got it probably a week and a half ago, but it's been such an amazing book because earlier this year, on January, it was my first time discovering Russell Brunson. So I started diving into a lot of his stuff. I'm like, man, this guy is really good. Man, I don't know what this guy does, but he's really good. It's probably because he's smiling all the time, this and this and this. But it was his stories. His stories really allowed me to continue to push forward and just follow more and more of his stuff. Come to find out, he is one of the first gurus when it comes to this internet stuff. And so he created all these funnels and how you're able to do this, do this, do this. And so everything you see on social media, hey, I have a guide here. Hey, I have this. Go ahead and comment this and I'll send it over to you. And so if you follow me on Instagram, I do that. But this is all just based on funnels that he's been able to build. So there's a trilogy of books that he has, but I've read the first one and this third one. I haven't read the second one yet, but it's called Traffic Secrets by Russell Brunson. The underground playbook for filling your websites and funnels with your dream customers. And they got me. They got me there. I was like, okay, I've been watching a lot of Russell Brunson. This guy clearly knows what he's talking about. I want to dive into his book. My favorite thing is his books are free. All you have to do is just pay for the shipping, but still. And it's good material. Right. So my favorite chapter of this book is secret number 8. Fill your funnel organically, working your way in. And so he dives in here how you're able to fill your funnel organically, and he gives you this perception on how every time you're on social media, think about it as a social networking party. So everyone's over here partying, yeah. Hey, we saw this person's video. Hey, we're in this person's comment section. Bum, 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 bum. You're replying to other people's comments. Ha, 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 you're so funny, you're so funny. So think about it as a social media networking party. Sometimes I dive into other people's posts. I go into the comments. I'm like, man, this is amazing. Or I give out my honest opinion. And then some people tag along like, oh, nah, this was my favorite. This slide, this carousel post was my favorite. Not this, not this, not this. So think about it all as a networking party. And besides the haters, who really hates at a party? Only losers hate. I've seen them all the time on social media, dweebs. But then, because you're over there having a party, blah, 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 you're taking them home because they'll check your home is basically your profile. So they're like, oh man, I like this guy's comment. What does he do? Boom, click on their profile. Now they're at your home. So when you take them home, they're looking at all your stuff like, oh wow, this guy has such a great life. This is something I would like to see on my profile. And once they follow you regarding of whatever you do, finance, like myself, you have business posts, you have inspirational posts, regardless of what it is, they will follow you. So now they're basically in your home all the time, and all you have to do is just persuade them, give them more of what they like. And then you ask, hey, I'm doing this. That's when they go through your funnel. Last one is your funnels. Once they're at your house, they have no option but to go into your funnels if you're providing value. So this is why this is one of my favorite chapters. It dives into it a lot more, For example, be a producer, not a consumer. Boom. The way you won't. I suggest only following your Dream 100 on each platform. Oh, if you're not familiar with the Dream 100, you should definitely dive into it in the book. But it's amazing overall. I really, really love it. And it gives you also different secrets regarding to different books or different social media platforms. For example, it dives into Instagram traffic secrets, how to have your networking party, how to go home, and how to have your stories, how to have your stories posted. So I'm really a big fan of this because it dives into Instagram, Facebook, and a whole lot of other platforms. I really wish to dive into LinkedIn, but whatever, it happens. So I'll just have to learn through that. Google, but yeah, great book. My fourth favorite book so far. These are not all in order. These are just, hey, these are books that I like. But sadly, I don't have my favorite book here, which is everyone's favorite. Before I dive into this book, I was at a barber shop the other day, about 2 months ago. I don't have a haircut right now, but I will get one tomorrow. But I was at the barbershop the other day, and I went to a student barbershop. So these kids are students giving out fades for the low, so like $5 and I'll give you a fade. They take a little minute, but hey, $5 is $5. So I'm there, and they're talking about, yeah, they're teaching us about atomic habits because it's a barber school. So they want these barbers to be great. They want to have good habits, learn about Rich Dad Poor Dad, how to handle your money, this and this and that. And I was like, you know what book they should go over? They should go over How to Win Friends and Influence People. And then there's this bald guy next to me getting a haircut, bald, so they were just kind of razoring his hair. But regardless, he was like, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Nobody, that book is outdated. I'm like, what did he just say? He's like, yeah, there's like so many books that are better than that. Yeah, that book, those tactics don't even work. And I was astonished. Yeah, I was pretty shocked. I'm like, I don't even know what to say to this. Right? I was like, I don't think so. You know, everyone references this book for a reason, and this is a book that I read and studied. So I always go back to it and read into it, listen to the audiobook, because you're not going to remember everything. So that's one of those books that you study, not just read. You always have to go back to it. But, whew, I'm out of breath. However, he was like, hey, yeah, this book isn't that good. It's so overrated. And I thought he was lying, he was messing around, but apparently he thought that. But I do recommend How to Win Friends and Influence People. I think it's an amazing book. One of my favorite topics and chapters that Dan Carnegie, one of my favorite chapters that he dives into is to never argue with someone in the book, right? So there could be a lot of people that say stuff that you don't like, but the point is to never argue because nobody wins in the battle of arguing. For example, you're arguing with someone and you're like, no, you're wrong because of this. And they're like, no, you're wrong because of this. So nobody wins because let's say you are right, I'm arguing with you, and you're like, haha, Adrian, you're stupid, I'm right. Now I feel like crap, and I'm like, oh, wow, okay, way to go, man. And you're like, yeah, I'm this cool guy, yeah. When in reality, that's that's such a bad scenario because regardless of what you do, someone's gonna lose. And now because you proved me wrong and made me feel like crap, I dislike you. Not all the way, but like your bar goes a little low. You lose 20 points on my liking level of you because you wanna prove yourself wrong, witty, witty, witty. And so you never really win anything out of arguing with someone because let's say you were wrong and I was right. Now you look like a dummy and I'm over here, haha, doofus, blah, 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 blah. So you don't win anything from arguing. So the whole point is to not argue because this will allow you to win more friends and influence more people. Simple as that. The book dives into so many aspects that I love going into, just reading it back and listening to the audiobook. But that's enough on that last book. That is my favorite book in general. Out of the 5, that is number 1. That's the book I study the most. So yeah, these are all my favorite books. The Little Red Book of Selling, Traffic Secrets, Swim with the Sharks Without Being Eaten Alive, and the last one, Atomic Habits. And these books are amazing. I recommend you give them a try. Luckily, nowadays, books are $10 to $20. Imagine getting a lifetime worth of knowledge for $10 to $20. That sounds like a steal to me, right? Imagine getting someone's entire life for $10 to $20. That's amazing. That's why people should read more books. And if you're an entrepreneur, I believe you should be reading books as well. I mean, obviously experience gives you more knowledge, but it's always good to just learn new things. Outside of that, I appreciate you guys for listening to this podcast, whoever listened. But next time I will have a guest. I was just really caught up this week, but next time we have a guest. Next guest will be, I'm not even going to tell you. You're going to have to watch out.